Now, our next guest has been through a really tough battle over the past few years, fighting a drug conviction for illegally producing medicinal cannabis. Driven by a desire to help those in desperate need, Jenny Hallam says she was let down by the system that doesn't allow patients to access proper pain relief. Last week, South Australian woman Jenny Hallam was vindicated as she walked out of court a free woman. She'd been facing drug supply and manufacturing charges after police raided her home in January 2017, finding hundreds of cannabis oil products. The now 47-year-old had been producing the drug and providing it to terminally ill adults and children for 3 years to help them overcome chronic pain, giving relief to people like Ben Oakley, who suffers from a rare neurological disease.
He was dying in front of my eyes and not one doctor was able to do anything for him.
Jenny also claims she'd healed her own pain through the drug and was providing it free of charge, a key element that helped her case, despite having to change her plea to guilty during a drawn-out court battle.
I'm sorry for those that I've let down. Basically, I've taken this as far as I can possibly take it.
Prosecutors argued that she was unlicensed and untrained.
I'm not a criminal, but sometimes desperate people do desperate things.
But the judge accepted that Jenny was motivated by compassion and spared her from the maximum 10-year jail time, handing her a 2-year good behaviour bond and no conviction. And Jenny joins us now in the studio. You were getting quite emotional watching that tape piece, weren't you? So you were facing 10 years behind bars. Are you relieved or do you just feel worn down by this whole process?
A bit of both. I'm relieved that the judge saw what I was doing for the right reasons, but I'm also very worn down and I don't think there was a reason to put me through that.
And was it hard to enter the conviction of guilty that you did? Because that was something that you were adamant you would never do, but you've escaped conviction. So how difficult was that?
That was one of the hardest days of this whole thing. I never wanted to plead guilty. I was forced to plead guilty. The prosecution makes it very difficult for some of these cases to get brought to trial, and he made sure mine did not get to trial. So it wasn't because I wanted to, it was because I was forced to, and the reasons will come out eventually.
Now, you've been adamant all along that the laws need to change, that they are not workable for providing access to medicinal cannabis. Are you prepared to break the law again?
No, not this way. I'm not going to provide oil for people anymore, but I will keep fighting to make sure people can get access because I still have a powerful voice and I think that there's still something I can do with that. They have taken away my ability to be able to heal people, but they haven't taken my ability to be able to educate and help people to be able to help themselves.
And what does need to change? Because people can get access to medicinal cannabis on paper, but in practice, is it a very different situation?
It's very different. Most people, even if they can get access and can get a prescription, can't afford the products. Most people are looking at something like $6,000 per month. Epilepsy patients probably even more. This isn't a workable system. There's no reason why it can't be put on the PBS. You know, we just want the government to look at this and do something about it. They legalised it in November 2016, and here we are in November 19, and we still haven't got access for most people. People are still dying, children are still suffering, and people are still messaging me on a daily basis begging for me to help them. And I'm having to say no to these people. In fact, I can't even answer half of the messages because it's just too hard to listen to their stories of suffering and desperation.
And quite remarkable the comments that the judge made in delivering the ruling too, talking about you being an exceptional case and the miraculous results that you've delivered for the people that you've helped.
That's right, and that's what we try to show is that, you know, everyone kept saying I'm not a doctor, I shouldn't have done that, but I think I've proven that you don't need to be a doctor to use cannabis and to treat yourself and even other people with cannabis. It's a safe product. It's not a drug. It's not dangerous. A lot of stuff was made up about it to try and scare people away from it when it was prohibited. So the talk about it causing mental health issues is not true. It does not cause schizophrenia. It does not cause mental health issues. It does not cause a lot of the problems that they say it does. Other things do. The chemicals sometimes used to grow cannabis can be a problem, but organic, full, whole plant cannabis does not cause problems like they try to make it sound like it does. The only problems it causes are for the pharmaceutical companies because it is a huge threat to them. They will lose millions, if not billions of dollars in profits, and they are trying very, very hard to make sure we don't get access to it here. They donate money to political parties, they bribe doctors, even though it's not legal, they still do it, and they're making it very, very difficult for us to be able to get access here.
Yeah, the serious claims that you're making. You've left South Australia. Do you feel like you've been hounded out of the state?
Oh, definitely, definitely. definitely. I feel like they're not happy with me. They're not happy the fact that I got a no conviction. They were trying to make an example of me. That's why they went after me. They thought if they take out someone that was compassionate, that wasn't charging for it, that helped all these people, that if they went after me, that they would scare everybody else off. But it didn't scare anybody else. It made everybody think, wow, cannabis oil works, and maybe I'll be able to use it. And it made a whole lot of new people just want to try it.
So your voice is equally as loud as it's ever been?
It's
You're not going to be quieted by this?
It's louder. If they think that I'm going to give up, they're wrong. They should have realised a long time ago that I'm not the weak sort of person that they assumed that I would be. I have to fight for this, for people that can't fight for themselves. There's millions of people out there desperate to access cannabis, both recreationally and medicinally. And it's time this government had a look at it. It's time the government started listening to what the people wanted instead of what the big corporations that are paying them all this money want. You know, people put them in power, we vote them in. It's time to listen to us. We're the voices they should be listening to, not the big bucks.
So what's next? Obviously, if you face jail time, if you do take a stand, how are you going to go about making change then?
Well, I'll work legally. So there are a couple of different companies that approach me about working legally with them. I'll work legally in the future to do it. I'll keep advocating for it. I'll keep pushing the government, and I'll keep showing that what they're doing is wrong and that they're not trying as hard as what they pretend that they are. I've sat down with Greg Hunt and spoken to him personally.
The Health Minister.
The Federal Health Minister, and he has promised me that he would get access as soon as possible, and then went behind our backs and did everything but that. So we're tired of being lied to. We know that there's a lot of money tied up in this. We know that there's pharmaceutical companies that are putting pressure on government, and we want that to stop. It's time they stop listening to them, and it's time they started listening to the people, the ones out there that are sick and suffering and dying, because we only get one chance at life. These politicians can come back and have multiple chances at a political career, but we get one chance at a life. So we have a saying in our community, in our little cannabis community out there, that we would rather be illegally alive than legally dead. And people out there will keep fighting, and they'll keep using illegal products until they can access not only an affordable product, but one that works.
We can see you're passionate, strong, and we wait to see what happens next.
Thank you.
Jenny Hallam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the time.
All right.